Hello boys and girls, welcome to Mrs. Bandu's Math Movies. This movie is for my algebra class, lesson 3-2, solving multi-step equations. So we're continuing in our equation solving of chapter 3. Our objectives are to use the distributive property when combining like terms and also use the distributive property when solving equations. Okay, so and here are basically our steps, general steps for solving a multi-step equation. Clear the equation of fractions and decimals. Step 2, use the distributive property to remove parentheses on each side. Combine like terms on each side. Undo addition or subtraction. And undo multiplication or division. Okay, so here we go. Combining like terms. We want to solve 3a plus 6 plus a equals 90. So we'll combine the like terms of 3a and a to get 4a plus 6 equals 90. My next would be to subtract 6 from each side. And I get 4a equals 84. The opposite of multiplying by 4 is dividing by 4, so I'll divide each side by 4. So 4a divided by 4 and 84 divided by 4 equals 21. So a is equal to 21. If you check this in, 4 times 21 is 84, plus 6 is 90. It checks. Again, I often do not require a physical check, but you do want to try to do a mental check so that you don't make any glaring errors anyway. Okay, you have 4 examples here on quick check number 1. I'm going to continue with the notes. You pause when you're ready to work them, and we will continue. Okay, applying multi-step equations. You need to build a rectangular pen in your backyard for your dog. One side of the pen will be against the house. 2 sides of the pen have the length of x feet, and the width will be 25 feet. What is the greatest length the pen can be if you have 63 feet of fencing, excuse me. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to draw a little diagram here because I think it sort of helps to, if that's your house, and this is the pen, and I realize it's probably not to scale, but it kind of gives me an idea of what I'm dealing with. Okay, these 2 sides are going to be equal in length. This side is up against the house, so I don't need fencing for it. So these will give me the amount of fencing, or what I can do with 63 feet of fencing. Okay, so the length of a side plus 25 plus the length of the other side equals the amount of fencing that you have. Again, this is just sort of putting it in, breaking it down into sort of an equation in words. This time we'll say let x equal the length of a side. Remember, you always define your variable even if it doesn't explicitly say to. Okay, so x plus 25 plus x equals 63 because you have 63 feet of fencing. Okay, so x plus x gives you 2x plus 25 equals 63. So what we'll do here now is we have 2x plus 25 minus 25, because we want to isolate the x, equals 63 minus 25. We'll subtract 25 from each side to isolate the x term. When I do that, I get 2x equals 38. Now I'm going to divide each side by 2 to get the coefficient on the x term to be 1. So 38 divided by 2, 2x divided by 2 is x. 38 divided by 2 is 19. The pen can be 19 feet long. So 19 plus 25 plus 19 should give you 63 when you check that back in. Okay, our next one is solving an equation with grouping symbols. Okay, so we have 2 times the quantity x minus 3 is equal to 8. So the first thing we're going to use the distributive property and remove our parentheses from the equation. So that's going to give me 2 times x is 2x minus 2 times 3 is 6. Okay, so what I'll do is the opposite of subtracting 6 is adding 6. So I'm going to add 6 to each side. So that gives me 2x is equal to 14. Now to solve for x, I'll divide each side by 2. 14 divided by 2 is 7. 2x divided by 2 is x. So I simplify and get x equals 7. Here's a check. Substituting in 7. So 7 minus 3 is 4. So 2 times 4 should give me 8, and it does. Okay? So it has checked. And again, whether or not I specifically ask you to do that, you should do that. Okay, one more example. Solve equations that contain fractions. So we want to solve 3x over 2 plus x over 5 is equal to 17. Okay, so what I'll do here is I will multiply each side by 10 or any other common denominator, but generally I'm going to want to use the LCD because it will keep my numbers smaller, because 10 is a common multiple of 2 and 5. So I multiply each side, and that does mean every term here on the left hand side must be multiplied by 10. So I distribute out, and then I can use some cross canceling here. 2 goes into itself once and into 10 5 times. 3x times 5 is 15x. Here, 5 goes into itself once and into 10 twice, so 2x is the result of that, and 10 times 17 is 170. When I combine like terms, I get 17x equals 170. Divide each side by 17, and x is 10. Okay, so what I did here is I clear the fractions, and then I have to work with whole numbers, which for most of us is a little bit easier to do. That's kind of the reason we want to do that. Otherwise, it can get a little messy, and we try not to get too messy when we don't have to. Okay, you have a few more quick checks. When you get to the bottom of this page, turn the page because there's more on the back of this page as well. Okay, so it goes up to number 4. Be sure you have those completed. I look forward to seeing